You learn to pray with your hands together on your knees, asking. You learn that God is distant, up high, listening to your pleas. You learn that prayer is conversation with someone outside of yourself, that merit, purity, and correct rituals are necessary, that there is a right way and all others are wrong. But what if all of that was just the shadow of something bigger? What if prayer, in its purest form, wasn't asking, but remembering, wasn't speaking, but breathing, wasn't searching out there, but diving in here? You are about to discover that the way Jesus really taught to pray has been hidden, translated, diluted, and distorted over the centuries, not out of pure evil, perhaps, but out of fear, fear of the power that it would put in the hands of every ordinary person. Pusey, true prayer doesn't need the intermediaries. It doesn't need temples. It doesn't need temples. It doesn't need external authority. It happens in the silence of your own heart, where you have always been sacred, where you have always been enough, where you have always been connected to the source of everything. There is something that has been erased, not completely, not all at once, but little by little, translation after translation, counsel after counsel, interpretation after interpretation. What Jesus taught about prayer was not a list of requests. It wasn't blind submission. It wasn't an empty ritual repeated without feeling. It was something much older, something he himself had learned in the silent years, those years of which almost nothing is said, when he walked through distant lands, sat with teachers, breathed under desert stars, and discovered that the kingdom of God would not come with fanfare, but with inner silence. What was hidden is not locked in sacred vaults. It is hidden in plain sight, in the subtext, in the Aramaic words that were translated into Greek, then into Latin, then into so many languages, then they lost their original vibration. It is hidden in the difference between Our Father, who art in heaven, and Abba, breath that permeates everything. It is in the difference between asking for bread and recognizing that true nourishment is already within, waiting to be felt. When Jesus withdrew to pray, he didn't go to ask. He went to breathe, to feel, to remember. He taught that prayer was not a public performance or a magic formula. He said, go into your room, close the door, pray in secret. And what is that room, if not the inner space, the chamber of the heart, the place where no noise of the world can enter? He taught that true prayer happens when you stop trying to impress, stop repeating empty words, stop repeating empty words, stop believing that God is deaf and needs volume or insistence. True prayer is a state of being. It is pure presence. It is when you recognize that what you call God is not watching you from afar, judging, weighing your merits on a cosmic scale. He is breathing through you. He is living through you. It is living through you. It is the very breath that moves your chest at this very moment. You were taught that you need to deserve it, that you need to be worthy, that you need to purify yourself before daring to approach the sacred. But Jesus walked with the impure. He touched the untouchable. He ate with sinners. And when he taught to pray, he didn't start with clean yourself first. He started with you are already loved. He started with the recognition that the connection was never broken. You just forgot. The institution built walls where Jesus opened doors. He created hierarchies where he sat in circles. It established intermediaries where he said the kingdom is within you. And why did they do that? Because a person who knows how to truly pray, who knows how to access the divine presence directly, does not need permission. It doesn't need authorization. It does not need external control. And power that cannot be controlled is dangerous for those who wish to control. Breathe in now, very slowly. Feel the air entering through your nostrils, going down your throat, expanding your chest, filling your lungs. Hold for a moment and release. Release everything. Release what they said you should be. Release the fear of doing it wrong. Release the belief that God is far away. Because every time you breathe, you are praying. Every time you allow air to enter and leave, you are participating in the sacred rhythm that moves everything. The word Jesus used for a spirit, ruach in Hebrew, pneuma in Greek, also means breath, wind, life force. A spirit is not something ethereal, distant, unattainable. It is literally the air you breathe. It is the movement of life through you. When you breathe consciously, you are praying in the original language, the language before words, the language that cannot be corrupted by translations. Jesus taught on the mountain, in the desert, by the lake, not in ornate temples, not surrounded by gold and incense. He taught where heaven touches earth, where the natural reveals the divine. And when he prayed, he didn't shout. He became quiet. He became empty. He allowed something greater power flow through him. And that's what he tried to teach. That prayer isn't you talking to God. It's you cating down enough so that God can speak through you. It's you emptying yourself enough so that God can speak through you. But that was too dangerous to be clearly preserved. Because if each person can become a direct channel of the divine, where does that leave the power of those who claim to be the only authorized channels? So they took his words and turned them into rules. They took his freedom and turned it into dogma. They took his invitation to inner silence and turned it into noisy liturgies, not completely, not completely, not everywhere. There are still echoes, there are still whispers, contemplative monks who sit in silence, Christian mystics who speak of union, not separation, practitioners of centering prayer who have returned to the roots, who have rediscovered that deep prayer is more about letting go than asking, but that was kept on the margins. It was considered too advanced, too dangerous, too mystical for ordinary people. Ordinary people, they said, need simpler rules. They need fear and reward. They need to be guided like children. But Jesus didn't treat anyone like a child. He treated each one as a seed about to awaken. What has been hidden is simple. So simply it's scary. Praying as Jesus taught doesn't require special knowledge. It doesn't require years of theological study. It doesn't require approval from any external authority. It only requires that you stop, that you breathe, that you breathe, that you feel, that you recognize that what you seek is not in any temple, but in the very act of being alive, in the very miracle of existing, in the space between one breath and another. There in that silence, in that fertile emptiness, is everything. There is the peace that surpasses understanding. There is the love that has no conditions. There is the presence that has never left. You can check this now. You don't have to wait. You don't need to prepare anymore. You don't need to be in a sacred place, because all places are sacred when you are present. Close your eyes if you can, or keep your gaze soft, low, without focusing on anything specific. Breathe deeply, through your nose, allowing the air to descend into your abdomen. Don't force it, just allow it. Hold it gently, and release it through your mouth, slowly, as if you were releasing everything that is not yours. Do it again. Breathe, hold, release, and once more. Breathe, hold, release. Notice how your body relaxes. Notice how your mind begins to kite. It's not effort, it's surrender. It's not control, it's trust. Now, as you breathe, bring your attention to the center of your chest. You don't need to visualize anything. Just feel the area around your heart. There may be warmth, or tingling, or just awareness. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you are directing your attention inward, not outward. You are not asking for something to come to you. You are recognizing what is already here. Jesus said, "The kingdom of heaven is within you," not "will be in the future." Not "will be in the future." Not "will be if you were better." It is, now. It always has been. Breathe into this center. Imagine, if you want, that each inspiration brings light into this heart space. You don't need to see the light, just feel the intention. And each expiration releases darkness, tension, doubt. You are praying. You are doing exactly what Jesus did when he withdrew alone. You are coming home. Home was never a building. It was never a specific tradition. It has always been this present moment. It has always been this conscious breath. It has always been this feeling of being alive, of being here, of being here, of being here. When Jesus said the Father are one, he was not declaring divine exclusivity. He was revealing the truth available to all, that in the deepest experience of presence, there is no separation between you and the source of life. There is no Mehe and God there. There is only this moment, this breath, this awareness. And that is not blasphemy. It is the most sacred truth. The truth that sets you free. Because if you and God have never been separated, then you never needed to prove yourself. You never needed to earn love. You never needed to deserve existence. You are already the proof of divine love. You are already the answered prayer. But this was complicated on purpose. Layers and more layers were added. Original sin that marks you even before you are born. Rules that keep you always failing. Mediators who charge for the bridge that was never necessary. And somewhere deep down, you knew. You always knew. That's why empty prayer tired you. That's why repeating words without feeling seemed hollow. That's why you longed for something more, something real, something that would make your heart pound with recognition. That longing is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is your true self calling you back home, back to the original method, back to the prayer that doesn't need words. Jesus spoke Aramaic, a poetic, vibrant language where each word carries layers of meaning. When he taught what became known as the Old Father, it wasn't creating a magic formula to be repeated thoughtlessly. It was offering a map of consciousness. Each phrase was a door. Abba doesn't just mean father in the authoritarian sense. It means source, origin, the cosmic breath. Who art in heaven doesn't mean distant, up there. In the original Aramaic, it refers to everything that is subtle, invisible, omnipresent. Hallowed be thy name is not a request for God to become holy. It's recognition. The sacred is already sacred. Help me to perceive. The kingdom come isn't about the distant future. It's about now. Let me recognize that the kingdom is already here. The will be done is not passive resignation. It's active alignment. Align my small will with the greater will, so that I flow with life, not against it. Give us this day our daily bread. In Aramaic refers not only to physical food, but to the food of the soul, the manna of presence, the sustenance that comes from being connected to the source. Forgive us our debts as we forgive is not a bargain. It's recognition that holding on to anger, judgment, bitterness, binds us as much as it binds those we judge. Letting go is freeing yourself. Lead us not into temptation is better translated as do not let us forget in times of trial. Do not let us lose connection when everything seems difficult. And deliver us from evil is more precisely. Free us from what keeps us trapped, from the suffering created by the illusion of separation. Each line, when understood this way, is not an external request. It's an internal process. It's a transformation of consciousness. It's true prayer. But you don't need to memorize this. You don't need to study Aramaic or Greek. You just need to go back to the essential. Go back to breathing. Go back to silence. Go back to the sensation of being alive. Because that's where prayer happens. Not in the right word or the correct ritual. In presence. In mindfulness. In the moment when you stop running away from yourself and finally allow yourself to be here. Jesus spent entire nights in prayer. Do you think he spent entire nights asking for things? Or was it that he delved so deep into inner silence that time and the space disappeared and they dissolved into infinite presence, returning renewed, filled, not with answers, but with peace? Keep breathing. Feel your body. Feel the weight of your body wherever you are sitting or lying. Feel the temperature of the air on your skin. Feel the sound of the world around you, but don't get attached to it. Let it be a background, like distant music. Your attention is here, inside, in the silent space where you find yourself. And in that space, there is no judgment. There are no demands. There are no shoulds or needs. There is only this. There is only this moment, this breath. And that is enough, more than enough. It is sacred. You are praying the way Jesus prayed when no one was watching. You are doing what he tried to teach before they turned his teachings into control. The early church knew this. The first followers, those who still carried the living vibration of what Jesus had shared, practiced silence. They practiced presence. They practiced what would later be called mystical contemplation. But when Christianity became the state religion, when political power mixed with spiritual message, everything changed. It needed structure. It needed structure. It needed fixed doctrine. And what didn't fit in the box was labeled heresy. Gnosticism, which spoke of direct knowledge of the divine, was persecuted. Mystics, who experienced union with God, were viewed with suspicion, because people who have direct experience don't need to be convinced. They don't need to be controlled through fear. They know, and knowing is dangerous. So prayer was institutionalized. It was scripted. It was transformed into duty, into obligation, into something you do to avoid punishment or gain favor. And the original method, conscious breathing, inner silence, pure presence, was preserved only in hidden monasteries, among those who dedicated their entire lives to the practice, as if only monks could access it, as if ordinary people with ordinary lives didn't deserve or weren't capable. But that is a lie. You are capable. You always have been. You always have been. You don't need to abandon your life. You don't need to become a hermit. You just need to remember. You just need to stop for a few moments each day and breathe consciously. You just need to recognize that the sacred is not absent from your ordinary life. It is in ordinary life itself, in the act of washing dishes with mindfulness, in the act of walking feeling each step, in the act of looking into someone's eyes and really seeing. Jesus didn't create a new religion. It tried to awaken people to the original religion, the religion before religions, the direct and undeniable connection with the source of life. He used parables because the truth cannot be told directly. He used pointed out. He spoke of seeds because you are a seed. He spoke of light because you are light. He spoke of kingdom because within you there exists a vast, infinite space where everything is possible and everything is well. And when he said, "Be perfect, as your heavenly Father is perfect," he wasn't creating an impossible standard to make you feel inadequate. The Aramaic word for perfect there means complete, whole, mature. Be complete, be whole, be fully yourself, without fragmentation, without masks, without dividing yourself to please the world. That is a perfection. That is lived prayer. You are praying now, even reading these words. If you are present, if you are feeling, if you are allowing something within you to recognize truth, you are praying. Because prayer is not form, it is frequency, it is openness, it is openness, it is a willingness to be touched by the sacred, and the sacred is always trying to touch you, always whispering, always inviting, always inviting. But you were taught to look outside, in loud voices, in dramatic events, in visible miracles, and while you look outside, you don't notice the silent miracle happening inside. The miracle that you exist, the miracle that you are conscious, the miracle that at this instant, billions of cells work in perfect harmony to keep you alive without you needing to think about it. Isn't that divine? Isn't that a miracle? Isn't that constant prayer? Your body conversing with the universe. Breathe again, deeper now. Feel your abdomen expand. Feel your ribs open. Feel your lungs fill completely. Hold that fullness for a moment. Feel full of life, full of light, full of presence. And then release. Release slowly, feeling the air leaving, taking away everything you no longer need to carry. All the limiting beliefs, all the voices of judgment, all the fear of not being enough. You are releasing, you are emptying yourself to be filled again. This is the rhythm of true prayer. Feel and empty, receive and release, open and trust. It is not effort, it is flow. It is not effort, it is flow. It is not conquest, it is surrender. Jesus said that if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you can move mountains. And you always thought that was about believing hard enough, trying hard enough. But it's not about trying. It's about trusting. It's about trusting. It's about letting go of control. It's about recognizing that you don't move mountains with individual willpower. You align yourself with the force that moves everything, and then mountains move through you. Faith is not blind belief in dogmas. It is deep trust in life. It is knowing, even when you don't understand, that you are being supported, that you are being guided, that you are part of something infinitely greater and infinitely loving. And if you doubt, that's okay. Doubt is not the enemy of faith. Doubt is honesty. Doubt is honesty. Jesus honored honesty questions. He was impatient with hypocrisy, with empty religious performance, but with honest seekers, even doubtful ones. He was gentle, so you can come to this original method with all your doubts. You can experiment without needing to believe first. Just breathe, just feel. Just observe what happens when you stop seeking external approval and turn your attention inward. Observe the stillness that emerges. Observe the peace that doesn't depend on circumstances. Observe the love that has no psyche, that is just a state of being. That is proof, not intellectual proof, lived proof, felt proof. There are stories of Jesus healing, and we always focus on the person healed, on the visible miracle. But we rarely ask, what was Jesus doing internally? How did he access that? And there are clues. He said, it is not he who does it, but the Father in me. He said, what you have seen me do, you will also do, and even greater. He was saying, I am showing what is possible when you become an empty channel, when you get out of the way, when you let the presence flow through you. The healings weren't about him being special. They were about him being connected. And he was trying to teach everyone to connect like that. But it was easier to worship him than to imitate him. It was more comfortable to put him on a distant pedestal than to accept the invitation to take the same inner journey. Untais you're being called to take that journey, not by external authority, by something internal, by a yearning that cannot be silenced, by a feeling that there has to be more, and there is much more. There are depths within you that you have never explored. There are silences within you more vast than cathedrals. There is light within you brighter than 1,000 suns. Not metaphorically, literally, when you close your eyes and go deep enough, when you go through the layers of thought, of memory, of constructed identity, there is a point where only pure consciousness exists. Pure presence, and that presence shines. That presence loves. That presence is what you call God, or universe, or source, or any name you prefer. But it's not outside. It has never been outside. It is the very essence of you, of who you are. Jesus called this Father, not because it was masculine, but because Father in his culture meant source, origin. Today, you can call it whatever resonates. Divine Mother, Great Spirit, Loving Presence, Infinite Being, or no-name. Because in direct experience, names disappear. Only the experience remains. Only the feeling remains. And in that feeling, you understand what no word will ever fully explain. You understand that you are home, that you have always been home, that you could never be away from home, because you are made of the same substance as everything. You are a wave in the infinite ocean, distinct for a moment, but never separate. And when the wave remembers that it is the ocean, it doesn't disappear. It relaxes, it flows, it trusts. So the original method of prayer that Jesus taught is not a method in the sense of a rigid technique. It is a path of return. It is a practice of presence. It is a constant choice to return inward, to return to now, to return to breath, to return to heart. 1,000 times a day you will forget. 1,000 times the mind will pull you into worries, into the past, into the future, into judgments, and 1,000 times you can gently return. Return to breath. Return to the sensation of the body. Return to this moment. This exact moment that is the only real one. And every time you return, you are praying, you are praying, you are practicing what Jesus practiced. You are living what he lived. You are being what he was, a man fully awakened to the divine within. The church did this not because everyone was evil, but because power structures need control and truth that liberates cannot be controlled. Some preserved the mystical teachings in secret. Some monastic orders, some texts considered apocryphal, some whispers passed from master to disciple. And now, in this time, when information can no longer be suppressed, when people are awakening en masse to the emptiness of external religiosity, the original method is being rediscovered, not as a novelty, as a remembrance. You are not learning something new, you are recognizing something old, something that your soul has always known. Close your eyes again, if you are comfortable. Take 3 deep breaths. 1. Inhaling light, releasing tension. 2. Inhaling peace, releasing fear. 3. Inhaling love, releasing separation. Now just breathe naturally. Don't control, just observe your breath. See how it comes in on its own, how it goes out on its own. You don't need to make it happen. It is happening through you. And while observing, recognize this breath is prayer. This moment is sacred. This you, exactly as you are, is divine. You don't need to change anything. You don't need to improve anything. You just need to be here, fully here. And in that being, everything transforms, not because you force it, but because true presence transforms. Light dissipates shadow, not by fighting against it, just by shining. You shine, even when you don't feel it, even when you doubt, even when you fail according to external standards. You shine because you are made of light. Because the same breath that sustained Jesus, that sustained Buddha, that sustained all the masters who have ever lived, sustains you now. There is no hierarchy of souls. There is no division between special and common. There is only consciousness in different stages of awakening, and you are awakening. Otherwise, these words would not have reached you. Otherwise, something in you would not be recognizing truth. Otherwise, you would not feel this warmth in your chest, this emotion rising, this feeling of yes, yes, I knew it. I always knew it. So what to do with this? How to live this? Simply, you don't need to go out preaching. You don't need to convince anyone. You just need to practice. Every day, set aside a few minutes. 5 minutes in the morning, 5 at night. Sit comfortably. Breathe consciously. Bring attention to the heart. And just be there, without asking for anything, without trying to achieve anything. Just be present, open, receptive. This is prayer. This is connection. This is what Jesus did and tried to teach. And the more you practice, the more you will notice changes, not necessarily big, dramatic ones, but the small ones. You will become calmer in stressful situations, more compassionate with yourself and others, more confident, not in results, but in flow, more connected with something greater that guides you, sustains you, loves you unconditional. And when people ask, what has changed in you? You won't need to give a theological discourse. You can just share, he started breathing consciously. He started spending time in silence. He started praying for real. And if they want to know more, you can share that true prayer is not a list of requests, but a state of presence. That it doesn't need external authorization. That it is available to everyone now, always. That Jesus tried to teach this, and it was partially hidden, but never totally lost. And it is being rediscovered. By you, by 4,000s, by millions, not as an organized movement, as a silent awakening, as a return to the source. You are not alone in this. There are others awakening too, in every corner of the world, in every tradition, on every path, because the truth is one, although the paths are many. And at the center of all true paths is this presence, love, silence, breath, connection. What changes is language, culture, context. But the essence is the same, and you are touching that essence now. You are drinking from the original source. You are praying as Jesus prayed, not imitating the external form, but accessing the same internal depth. Share this. Do not impose, do not preach. But when someone is searching, when someone asks, when someone longs for more depth, share. Tell them that there is a way back, that there is an original method, that there is a prayer that truly connects, and that it requires no intermediaries, requires no authorization. It requires nothing but a willingness to stop, breathe, feel, be present. This is a silent revolution. This is invisible reform. This is a return to the beginning, to the start, to the original, to the pure, to the simple, to the true, to the simple, to the true, to the true, to the true. You now know, you remembered. You have the key that was always in your pocket. Use it every day, every night, in moments of joy and in moments of pain, in moments of clarity and in moments of confusion. Always return to the breath. Always return to silence. Always return to presence. This is the prayer that Jesus prayed. This is the method he taught. This is the path that was partially hidden, but never totally lost. And now it is being restored through you, through all who are awakening, through this wave of consciousness that is sweeping the planet. You are not small, you are not insignificant, you are an essential part of this. Your journey matters, your practice matters, your presence matters. So continue breathing. Continue praying, continue remembering, continue praying, and know that with each conscious breath, you are changing not only yourself, but the world, because consciousness is contagious, peace spreads, love multiplies, and the more people return to the original method, the more quickly all of humanity can awaken, not to a new religion, but to the truth beyond all religions, the truth that we are one, that we are free. Breathe this truth, live this truth, live this truth, and let your light guide others, not with words, but with presence, with peace, with love, with the silent glow that comes from someone who has found a way back home. And always remember, you are not alone on this journey. There are myriad souls making the same journey. There are visibly and invisibly masters supporting you. And there is the divine presence within you, always whispering, welcome back, beloved. Welcome back. You never left. You just forgot for a moment. But now you are remembering. And the remembering is the awakening. And the awakening is freedom. And freedom is your birthright. It's who you truly are. So be free. Pray freely. Love freely. Love freely. Live freely. And may your whole life be prayer. Not recited words, but lived presence. Not external performance, but internal transformation. Not separation of sacred and profane, but recognition that everything is sacred, every breath, every step, every moment, everything is prayer when you are present, everything is revelation when you are awake, everything is divine when you are connected. And connection is not something you achieve, it's something you recognize. It's always been here, you just weren't looking, but now you are, and now you see. And once you see, you can never pretend you don't, you know. And the knowing sets you free, and freedom transforms you, and the transformation radiates, and the radiation touches others, and so the light spreads, and so the world awakens, and so the kingdom comes, not from above, but from within, always from within, always here. always now, always in you.